Hello everyone and welcome to segment 2 of Columbia School District's tutorial for Google Classroom. And in this segment we're going to look at everything to do with assignments. One thing I want to stress before we get into the actual assignment basics and how to turn stuff in and so forth is in terms of grading, both parents and students, you should look at PowerSchool. That should be your number one source for looking at grading. It's something that's laid out. If you need a tutorial for PowerSchool and how to use that, I'll have a link in the description when we upload this video to YouTube. There'll be a link in the description of the video that takes you to a PowerPoint or a PowerSchool tutorial. Now, in terms of the basics for assignments, if you guys remember in the very first video, I said where are you going to spend most of your time in looking for stuff in the organized course. It's going to be on this tab that you see on the screen, the classwork tab. And you can see that we have 2 assignments here assigned at the moment, with the due dates being in late August with a timing of 2:30, no later than 2:30. Now, I didn't talk about these 3 tabs up in the last video too much, but if you wanted to view your work and what's been already submitted in the course, and then what's actually still assigned or open assignments, you would actually hit view work and it would take you and show you what's there. And you can see if there's anything that's missing, anything that's been returned, and then currently assigned or all. And so like if I clicked on returned, there's going to be nothing there versus assigned or all. Now you can see here that these are assigned. It has the time of date when it's due. If you were to click on the actual assignment, there's no work that's attached on this one. Now this one I've already attached work for the sake of what we're going to look at here in a moment. And you can see that it's there. You can click the details, and if you do that, it actually takes you to the assignment itself, and you can turn it in. But we won't do that just at this moment. We'll come back to that and look at our differences here, or look at our assignments now. So if you take a look at the first assignment tutorial, favorite things to do, what all you have to do is you just click on it. Okay, now anytime that you see this icon in Classroom, okay, the clipboard, that is an assignment that you have to do. Okay, that is linked to you. That's an assignment that you turn in Classroom. Now, in terms of icons, what you can see is, this is switching back to the teacher setting, assignment, quiz assignment. Okay, these are assignments that you're going to see. A question will be loaded in. These will typically be used by your teacher as maybe as like a warm-up question or a check-in for the day. Like specifically on Wednesdays if you know, when you guys are all remote and so forth. And then this material, which is just a paper with a ribbon on it, ribbon tab, this is used for material that could be like a syllabus, a reading that might help you out with an assignment or what have you. So those are the differences in terms of the icons. Now, back to your assignments, always make sure that you see and read the directions. Okay, please answer all questions and submit your work once finished. A lot of students don't read these or don't pay attention to them after they first look at it. Always go back to those. They'll be a big help to you. And then when you actually want to look at the assignment, you can either click here on the attached file or you can hit view assignment. I'm going to hit view assignment here just so you can see that the portal that for the assignment that you would look at. And then I'm going to hit the document itself. Now, most times that you actually click on the document, what you'll see is this right here. You can see a turn in and share. But I wanted to go over this here for just a second. Excuse me. Teachers may choose when uploading a document to you on Classroom not to give you a copy for a variety of reasons. 1, they could have forgot. 2, and this is probably why they mostly do it, is they don't want you to mess with the original document, and so forth. But in this case, like in this assignment, I'd be like, all right, guys, what I want you to do is please make your own copy of this assignment. If I didn't set that up to give you your own copy, how do you do that? Well, you go to File. It's pretty straightforward. You hit Make a Copy. And then what that does is it gives you the name of the file, puts a copy of the actual name, and puts it in your drive, or you can change the folder. Now I'm going to hit cancel here because I've already done this. But what I recommend that you do is take copy of, get rid of that, and then put your name. I recommend last name, first name. It keeps everything in a nice alphabetical order in front of it. That way, when you turn it in, we know who it is. Okay, it's a lot easier. It gives another, for the teacher, it gives us another identifier of who's turning this work in, and we don't have to look for it. Because one of the biggest pet peeves for all of us is when we get untitled document. If you create one on your own, that can be an issue, and it causes problems and so forth, and it might lead to not seeing work and so forth from students. So please make sure that you guys put your name, make a copy of something. Like I said, DIT file, make a copy, put your name in front of the actual document, makes it easier on us. Now, a couple other things in terms of just to help with work and stuff, before we actually show you guys how to turn it in, is if you're going to share it, you can share it. You can click here. Okay, now this is just what's up here for me. You can type in the person's email. You can actually hit copy a link and get that link, and put it in email, put it in the stream, and send it to somebody specifically. But it's just much easier if you just type in their email and so forth. So if I wanted to actually send this to my work email, I type it in right here, okay, .org, and then I would actually, it pops up. And now this is important. You can actually change what you want them to do here. They can just be a viewer, just be a commenter. You can give them editing access. You can write a message and so forth, and then you would actually send. All right, now I'm not going to do that for the sake of this video right now, but it's pretty straightforward. If you want to share for, if you're working on a document with another person and so forth, you can do that. A couple little formatting things that I want to go through with you guys in terms of assignments. Now, this is just my personal preference and something your teachers might say not to do, or something that you might want to ask them. But if you're filling out work, in which, by the way, if you notice on this one, I can't do anything to this. I don't have any access to edit. Now, since I made my copy, I can. I've already put the answers in. And back to what I was going to say previously is you can bold your answers, change the color. Be careful on doing that though, like with the questions, if they're bolded or italicized, or if they're a different color. But again, you want to ask teachers to do this if you can do this, because sometimes for us when we're grading stuff specifically online, in assignments like this, it can be hard to see work at times, especially if we've been grading for, you know, a couple hours or what have you. So that's just a tip in terms of like what I prefer. But again, with the formatting of that in terms of like bolding or changing the color of your answers, be careful on that and make sure to ask your teacher first. All right. And then another thing I prefer too is please make sure that when you're doing your work that your fonts are appropriate, something kind of professional, easy to read. Like I wouldn't fill out something in Pacifico here. Times New Roman, just to get you guys ready for college or anything afterwards. Times New Roman, size 12, that's what you want to go for. That is what is recommended, and in most cases that is required, and it's the only thing that you can use. So please make sure that you get used to using Times New Roman size 12 font for turning in your work. Now, let's get back to turning in the assignment. So if we go back, you can see that I actually already added this in, but I'm going to show you guys how to add it. Really, all you would do is you just hit add create. You can hit create new if you're creating new. You can go Google Drive, get the link, like if you were to copy a link or something, and then a file if it's off the computer and it's not Google Drive, you can do that as well. Now, to show you off of Google Drive, okay, we're just going to get rid of that and pull it back up again. You just hit add or create. Click on the correct one because this is one I have filled out with answers. Hit insert or double click. And then all you have to do is hit turn in. And then you turn it in. All right. Now, one thing here before we move on to the form is you can see that you can unsubmit it. If you want to make changes, if you forgot something, that's great. You can do that as long as you do it before this right here. before the due date and the time runs out, you can unsubmit it. But, excuse me, if you do that, make sure that you come back and check that it is submitted and it says turned in. That is a big key. Make sure you go back to do that. All right, so let's go back and take a look at our other assignments. You can see that this has changed now. Google has added this in. This is gray because it's turned in. If I go to view work, you can see this has changed and it says it's turned in. Okay, so that tells you, okay, I've got it in. It's not returned yet because the teacher hasn't graded it or looked at it or hit return and so forth. So, but you can see that it is turned in. This one's still assigned, so we're going to actually go to this, look at the details. No work's been attached because we haven't done it. Go into the form and that you click this. Now I'm having issues with this because I'm on the same computer, so I'm operating across two accounts. So I'm having issues with showing why I'm showing you this form. So I'm going to go into the preview of why we're looking at Google Forms here. And this is very important for students and parents to remember, specifically when it comes to quizzes and tests. Google Forms are going to be huge for this. So this is the tutorial Getting to Know You quiz. I click on it. If I were on your site going through as a teacher, or as a student, sorry, what would happen is we're asking teachers to include an add-on within their tests and quizzes, since we have students that are both in the classroom and at home, to put timers on their assignments and make it very clear when something's due and how long that you have to complete the assignment. And it's not only to help you guys as students and help parents realize, okay, this is how much you have time to do this, but it's also to help us as teachers for timing of assignments as well, and to help keep cheating down. We have to assume that if you're working on something online, specifically at home, that you have notes to work with, and that's fine. But we can't just leave tests open and quizzes open for time with no end in sight, because then it would be irrelevant to really why you guys are actually doing it. So we're asking all teachers to add in a timer. It's called form limiter or time limiter, sorry, and it will actually give you this screen. You would hit get started. Okay, it's an online assessment. In this case, it's a simple one. You only have 5 minutes. You hit get started. And look at that. You have the 5-minute timer going on. And then this will actually give you a beep with 1 minute left. Now, the reason why we're using this specific add-on is that, and you need to make sure that you understand this, is that when it runs out, it submits whatever you have finished at that time. So if you don't finish, it's turned in. And again, we're not doing this as a detriment for you, the student, in terms of your work. It's to help keep cheating down across the board. And this is going to be for everybody. Now, obviously, if you're somebody that has an IEP or a 504 that gives you extra time, such as time and a half or double time, then it'll be you'll get a different link with a different set of timer, but that is negotiated for you ahead of time. And that is something that you need to make sure that is being communicated with your teacher, just to be safe right off the bat, because we're going to be going through some new systems here. Everybody is, specifically with using this add-on with Google Forms. So you'd go through, fill out this assignment, or this quiz. It's pretty straightforward. Always make sure that there is a name column, and this is important for you guys as teachers and parents. If you're looking at, or as students and parents, if you're looking at this, if a teacher gives you a Google form that does not have their name, a question that has the name and or email at the start, let that teacher know, because then they're going to receive all these assignments and have no clue who it comes from. That is one of the fallbacks of forms if it's not included. So please make sure that there is a name question. Go through, fill it out. I'm not going to do that for the sake of this video. It's pretty straightforward. You just click your your options here in the case of the multiple choice, or type in the short answer there. Since this is required, I do have to put my name. And then you would submit your form. Now you'll notice that this has an actual timer here, so you would hit submit, and then it would go in, and then there's your response, and it has been recorded. It says and then this is a preview so that it does look a little bit different. But that's pretty much all that you have to do. I just wanted to show you guys the fact that there are going to be timers on quizzes and tests with your assignments. One last thing within this though is you guys will notice that I actually completed that. With quizzes, with forms, you need to make sure that you come back once they're submitted, that it says that you have turned them in or marked them as done, because sometimes they don't do that. And it's because you're in a different portal in submitting the quiz. So all you would do is just hit mark as done. Now I didn't attach the quiz here because we took it in a preview, but that's all you would do is hit mark as done, and then it goes in. Okay, and I can unsubmit it here because the due date and so forth is there. Is still live. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. I know this was a longer video. I wanted to spend more time on this, be a little bit more detailed with the assignments, and I will see you guys in the next two, which will be much shorter tutorials that will finish out our series here. Have a good one.